Hey guys, it's postboxpat and welcome to the Season 6 Ultimate Crafting Guide so you guys understand exactly what is going on in the world of Fortnite. If you guys are new around here, don't forget to tap that subscribe to keep up to date with all the latest Fortnite content, all the latest tips and tricks for yourself and the community. Let's jump into this and break down exactly the crafting in Season 6. So Season 6 is a little bit complicated to start with. I found it quite difficult to understand what was going on with the crafting, but after a few hours of playing the game, it didn't take long for me to master it and understand everything that was going on in the world of Fortnite. So let's break it down and show you guys exactly what we've got using the different features and go over exactly what crafting holds for us. So first off, there's going to be 3 different types of weapons. There's makeshift, primal and mechanical. Mechanical is the standard variant which we saw in all the previous battle royales. Primal is obviously the new variant which is related to all the new POIs and is brand new into the game, and makeshift is the kind of craftable option where you can pick between them two. So here in my inventory you can see that I've got 4 makeshift weapons. We're going to be excluding the bow for now because that's the more complicated one, and we're going to be going over these right here. So the makeshift weapons are the weaker of the two. You don't really want a makeshift weapon unless you really like it for some random reason. They're very weak compared to the upgraded versions, either being primal or mechanical. Now, generally speaking, primal will be easier to get. This is because mechanical parts are harder to come across. So there's 2 main crafting ingredients this season. You've got bones and mechanical parts. They're the 2 you're going to need. So you're probably thinking, Pat, how do you get mechanical parts and how do you get bones? Well, it's very easy actually. It's not difficult at all. Obviously, Bony Burbs is going to have a lot of bones in, but all the new POIs and animals drop bones, and I'll show you guys that right now. And all the cars, including just general old cars, whatever you destroy them with, will also drop mechanical parts like this. So that's how you're going to come across them. You'll be able to get mechanical parts on cars that you drive, cars that are stationary, cars that are previously destroyed, like, you know, the pre-made ones on the map, mainly ones, for example, around dirty docks. Around that area, you'll see a lot of cars destroyed around there. And there are several places like this over the map where you can get mechanical parts from. You only need roughly 4 or so for an upgrade, so you don't actually need that many, but obviously it can be quite hard to get your hands on these if you can't find any cars and they're being farmed pretty fast. And then bones, these are just simple. Like I said, these can be found either at the brand new POIs because for some reason they have a lot of bony structures, or these can be found by eliminating either obviously the chicken, the wolves, or the hogs, which are found all over the map. Bones are definitely easier to get your hands on over mechanical parts from my experience, but it all depends where you land and what you're focusing, I guess. Don't forget though, guys, pop in code postboxpat if you haven't already. It really does go a long way and help support the channel. Thank you anyone considering to do that. Now it's time to test out some of the damage for these weapons so you can get a good overview of how these things work. So we can test this on players and cars. First, we're going to be starting off with the Makeshift Rifle. This is a brand new AR rifle, which is the standard version. The Makeshift is the one that you craft into stuff like I said before. Now let's give it a little bit of a test and see what this thing actually does, and does it really pack a good punch against your enemies. So here we have obviously a car. This is what we're going to test it on. So let's shoot this car and see how much damage this thing can actually do. And there we have it. You can see we're doing about 30 damage to a vehicle. Obviously, this will be multiplied on the head. So it's not loads for a single fire weapon, which is okay. This is the same with a blue version of the revolver. So this is a blue version, so an upgraded version. And with a shotgun, we're getting around 98 up close. So that's every single pellet. So this would be the same on a player. Let's test it on this guy. Okay, that guy had pretty low health, so he just got eliminated. But the next guy, okay, 98 again. So yeah, it's the same sort of rate. Obviously, a multiplier to the head if that was the case, and that's the same with the SMG as well. Let's try this thing out. This is doing around 18 at a green variant. I expect it to do less damage depending on obviously the rarity and the variant of this. So if it was a grey version, it wouldn't do as much, but that's okay. 31 to the head as well with that. So yeah, some interesting stuff with these rifles and stuff. They're definitely exciting for the makeshift stuff, but it's more of like a starter weapon. Because like I said, you've got the option to either upgrade it to the primal or the mechanical versions, depending on what resources you find and what you're focusing. So there's your variants there. What we're going to do now is we're going to upgrade all of these to the primal and test them out. We kind of already know what the mechanical ones are. They're the classic Fortnite weapons, which have that amazing effect where you zoom in and crouch and it gives you kind of no crosshair at all, instant hit. I don't know the exact name of it, but it's like instant hit, I like to call it. So yeah, these don't have it, sadly. The primal weapons really give me like a Gears of War style vibe. These These are more of the casual player weapons in my opinion, and they all have unique mechanics which have never been seen before. So I'll show you guys some of these mechanics as well as I upgrade to these. You can see I'm spending all my bones here. Obviously we've been grinding bones for ages on Battle Lab so we can make this video for you guys. You understand all the stats and stuff. But yeah, here are the primals. We've got a green variant dealing about 31 damage. What's really good about this though, you can see it's a little bit faster fire rate than the previous one, which was single fire, but again it doesn't get that hit marker effect where your crosshair goes really small and guarantees a one-shot bullet direct every single time. This doesn't get it. It's more of a spray and pray weapon, definitely more of a casuals weapon. So yeah, I do kind of like it. You can see, let's give it a little test on one of these players and see how much damage this thing actually does to players. So here we go, let's give it a little test on one of these. Go on, let's see. Okay, 31 to the body and to the head 46. So it's not the best weapon, but it's okay, and obviously it'll lose its damage at range because it's an AR. Now we've got our pistol, which is a 2-burst pistol. I thought this was quite a cool one. You can see about 37 damage to a car, how much to a head, 37 to the body, and to a head 74. So that's not too bad. If you've got 274s, that's a decent amount of damage. That's 148, so you're almost eliminating someone. So it's quite cool and quite a nice one. Obviously it's an epic variant, so a little bit better than the standard green which we're using, but yeah, you can see that's the effect I'm trying to point out there, you know, with the crosshair and that, which I just tried pointing out. So yeah, these primals don't seem to have that. That's the same with shotguns. It's always been like that. I do really like this shotgun. It definitely gives me a casual vibe for a shotgun, and one possibly you guys would like as well. So maybe the primal shotgun is the way to go. It's definitely more fun to use in my opinion in combat than the pump, but obviously the pros in that will always stick with that one-shot pump effect, which is just insane. And I totally know why better players use the pump, obviously because of that reason, because it can potentially one-shot at a legendary and epic variant. But you know, this one's more fun to use in my opinion. And you can also see the upgraded SMG as well. The primal SMG is pretty fun. Again, some crazy recoil, coming in around 19-18 damage there on the vehicle, and a multiplier to the head as always with these things. So yeah, they're pretty cool, these primal weapons. I do really like them, and this is the first part of this upgrading system. We've still got lots more in this video, guys, so do not go anywhere. That's just the first overview. You can see some damage here coming in with the headshot with these things. So yeah, they're quite effective. The shotgun is definitely really cool to the head. You can see we've got around about 74 plus with a double shot of that could possibly eliminate someone. So I do really like this new shotgun. It is again a burst fire shotgun though, one that you don't really expect to be a effective weapon in Battle Royale, but it is in this situation. So that's all the primal weapons out the way. Now let's move on to more of the complicated stuff, which is actually coming in with the bows. So the bows themselves make it a little bit more confusing because they have two separate paths and trees that you can go down depending on what upgrades you want, and it all starts from the makeshift bow, which is the standard bow. So the standard bow is key right here. I'm going to show you guys that and give you guys an overview. So here is the makeshift bow in front of me. So we're going to grab this, and you can see we've got some mechanical parts situated here as well. And if you go over to your crafting, you have the option to become a primal bow or a mechanical bow. Now the primal bow will give you two separate variants, as well as the mechanical bow will also give you two unique separate variants. Now what's really good about this is we're going to go with the mechanical bow, and you can see the mechanical bow is going to allow us for an explosive bow or either a shockwave bow. Now these do consume hours, but are very fun to use. The shockwave one, in my opinion, is probably the most overpowered one and the most fun. So yeah, that's probably the best one to craft up if you manage to find two shockwaves for this. Shockwaves aren't easy to come across all the time, but you know, they do happen to appear sometimes, and you can see the damage is pretty heavy with this shockwave one. So I'm quite happy with how this has turned out. It's definitely one of the better ones, but we'll go over the others as well so you can see the overview of them, and should you be crafting the others as well. So you can also shockwave yourself with this as well. For those wondering, you just shoot the ground, make sure you're underneath it when you fully pull it back, and you're away up into the sky. You won't go as high as me. I'm using moon gravity, but if you were using moon gravity for some random reason on Battle Royale, then you would go that high. But yeah, it's cool to have, and it's definitely a really exciting weapon for the future of Fortnite, and I do like what they're doing here with the bow and arrow system. Now next up, we're going to craft up the explosive bow. This one's actually going to require 6 grenades. So in my opinion, I actually think this is probably the hardest bow to craft, and it probably is that way for a reason, because it's probably the most broken bow potentially. This bow has some pretty cool effects which could be good in box fight situations and could be really fun for pros to try out. So here again, you go the mechanical way this time, so make sure you use your mechanical parts to upgrade it and not your bones. And then when you're in here, you're going to need a total of 6 grenades to upgrade to this final variant, which is going to to give you an explosive effect. Now, the explosive effect is really fun to do. It allows just a giant kind of explosive TNT piece to fall with the bow shot, which is really cool. So I'll show you guys some previews of that with some gameplay. You can see there's a little bit of the TNT kind of popping out of the bow, and it kind of does this, so it kind of fires, does a little bit of damage, and if you don't move any further from there, you're going to get TNT'd afterwards, which I think is really cool. So you can see here, testing out the damage, decent amount again to the body, and a good amount to the head. Still not enough to one-shot though, but the TNT does finish off in that situation. The chances of that actually happening though is pretty rare. I'm guessing a lot of people will be dodging this TNT. They're going to be more effective in box fight situations. So with that out of the way, we also have a makeshift bow in the middle right here. This one was for the flame bow, but I put that towards the end only because in this game you're watching right now, we didn't manage to actually get the flame bow. This was due to Battle Labs not actually having fireflies when it's daytime, and gas cans just don't spawn on Battle Labs. But don't worry guys, we're now going to craft the stink bow so you guys can see some of the damage stats for this. I think it's a cool one. Again, you go onto your primal section, you get your primal bow, and then once you've crafted your stink bow variant, you're pretty much set. So head over to your crafting, you can see you've got a few different things here. You got mechanical primal, you're going to go primal this time, so make sure you select that. And then once you're on the primal, there's two types of fish you can get. So you can either fish for stink fish, or you can get them from actually eliminating frogs. That's how you actually can craft this bow. And every single time you fish or eliminate a frog, it will give you free. So you don't really need too much as long as you have that primal bow upgraded using bones and a little bit of fish, or stinkfish should I say, you're pretty much set to get this stinky bow. Now, what is really good about the stinky bow is it's good in close encounters and close quarters, because if someone's boxed up and you fire a stink in there, they're going to want to get out of that box because they're going to be taking 5 DPS. That's really good endgame. It's more of an endgame bow in my opinion, this one, and I think you'll see a lot of pro players switching it up and trying it out. So yeah, your stink sack is what it's officially called from the frogs, for those ones. Now for the damage test on the stinky bow, you can see how much damage does this do with gas. So it fires down the gas, it gets 1 tick, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 35 from the gas, which is kind of nice. And then again, just testing that again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So about 35 just from the gas effect, so that's okay. And now let's see how effective this is to the body. Coming in at 68, not that good. And then again to the body, another 68, so still not good. And then to the head, 136 with the gas effect. So generally, this is a weaker bow, more of one pushing boxes and stuff. Probably one you'd use late game. Other than that, I would kind of avoid it. It's not really the best in combat situations compared to the mechanical variants. Now, we've obviously got the flame bow to show off, so we're going to switch over to another game and show you guys the flame bow right now. We're going to see the effects of that. How good is it in combat? Will you be using the flame bow? And I want to see what pros are going to be using. That's what I'm really interested in. Commenting down below though guys, what your favorite bow is so far. So the flame bow can be crafted two ways. First, you need to get the primal bow, and once you have the primal bow, obviously then you need to take your decision. Are you going to use a gas can or a jar of fireflies? Obviously the jar of fireflies will be easier to come across if it's a nighttime environment, but if it's not, then the gas can is your only option. You're going to have to use the gas can to craft up this device. Now when you use your gas can and craft it, you do get your hands on the fire variant of this bow, and it's kind of cool. You can see it's good against wood structures, so this could be really late, well, really good late game if people are building out of wood structures, or it might not be that effective if people are building out of stone and metal. So maybe again this bow could be a little bit of a hit and miss. You kind of want to go for that mechanical tier for the casuals, I think, but maybe this can be quite fun as a casual player as well. It's all debatable and everyone has their own opinions. You can see the bow itself again only does roughly about 66, 68 damage to the body. It's still not that good for a bow. I wouldn't really recommend this one, but again, if you do like it and you want to get your hands on it, then maybe this one is for you on the bow side. So here you can see we've got a NPC. We're going to give it a little bit of a test. How much damage does this thing do to the head? That's the question. So let's try and get the angle for that. Okay, and perfect. We've got a 136 to the head, which isn't that bad, and then the body again coming in with that low 60 rate. So still not that good, but the fire is good, I guess, if you manage to burn the structures they're on. If they are on wood, that could be really annoying, especially if you've got a lot of ammos. That's arrows. Obviously your ammo is arrows this time, so it's not actually going to be bullets. But yeah, that's kind of a cool one, and generally overall I really do like that weapon and suspect that it will be a really effective one in the future of Fortnite. Now the next one we've got for you guys is coming in with the final craftable item, and this actually is a secret hunter's cloak. So this is crafted with 2 pieces of bone and 1 piece of meat, and what this simply does is allow you to equip a cloak on your back. Now the cloak that you equip can only be enabled for a short period of time until you take damage. So it's endless basically until you take damage. So it's kind of good. It takes a little bit of time to activate, but then if you do take damage, you have to reactivate it. Now if you don't take damage, you keep it for the whole game, and what it does, it allows wolves and other animals not to attack you, so therefore you can tame wolves without using meat. But to be honest, wasting 2 bones on this can be quite heavy. I would personally not waste 2 bones on it. I would kind of keep it a little bit more, I guess, secretive, because wasting 2 bones on it is just a little bit of a waste when you can kind of throw meat down and get the same sort of result using just standard meat. But bones again are opinion based in that situation. But that's it for today's video. I really do hope this did help you out with the crafting guide. It was a long one to make and it's been a little bit hard to get everything together. I've been super tired grinding this out. I've really enjoyed this season so far though, and I can't wait to bring more content to you guys. If this did help you out, you did really enjoy it, smash that like, consider entering in code postboxpat to your item shop. It really does help out and go a long way. And don't forget, subscribe if you're new around here. And once again, this is postboxpat, signing out.